Hello, I would like to welcome you to our presentation with Sonia Rinaldi. My name is Sandra Champlain. I am the host of We Don't Die Radio, and I'm also the author of a book called We Don't Die, A Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death. Many, many, many years ago, I was at an Afterlife conference and I was told about this woman in Brazil who was doing some magnificent things, and her name was Sonia Rinaldi. And deep inside, someday, I thought maybe I would get to see this woman or learn more about her. And was I ever delighted? A couple of years ago, she was a keynote speaker at the Afterlife Research and Education Institute, our AREI, at their symposium. And I was delighted that not only was she working with audio messages from our loved ones who are deceased, but she was now working with images, and her presentation was amazing. We quickly became friends. She has been a speaker on the stage at our We Don't Die live events. I will support her till the end of the earth in my heart of hearts, especially when I saw a trance image of my own father. Was I taken from a believing in the afterlife to a knowing? And so thank you for being here. Thank you for your generosity. Sonia never asks anything from anybody. She works tirelessly to help research on the afterlife and to help ease broken hearts and grieving hearts. So I want to bring you and introduce you to Lisa Lanuski. And Lisa has got a special relationship with Sonia, and I'd love for her to do the introduction in her words, as I know Sonia has made a big difference in Lisa's life. Hello, Lisa.
Thank you, Sandra. Well, you're all in for a very big treat. Today, you're going to see and hear some of the most incredible advancements ever in the area of instrumental transcommunication. Sonia is one of Spirit's most trusted servants. She does this work solely on behalf of Spirit because she and they want to provide proof of everlasting life and comfort to those that are left here in the physical world. I've known Sonia for several years now, and I can honestly say she changes lives. She definitely changed my life by showing me that my daughter, my father, my beloved brother-in-law, in spirit are still very much alive, very close to me. It's just my inability to see them, to touch them. For now, for the time being. She's developed a very loyal and trusting relationship with her spirit friends on the other side after working closely with them for more than 30 years. And this close relationship has allowed her to bring forward increasingly real and clearer images and voices of our loved ones on the other side. Like Sandra said, she works tirelessly, sometimes 7 days a week, to bring comfort to moms, dads, spouses, children. It's her soul's mission, and she takes it very, very seriously. She's worked with nonverbal people, like children with autism. She's worked with people in comas, people in the sleep phase. She's received images of animals, ultra-terrestrials, humanoids. If you name it, she's seen it. It's the honor of my life to be able to work beside you. I love you. Just to help you share the truth with the whole world that we don't die. And it's an even bigger privilege to call you my friend. But before I let anybody see you, I'm going to do a shameless plug for our Patreon because several people have asked, what can we do to help Sonia? And our right arm, the heart and soul of our group here, Amy, who I hope is on here today, she has started a Patreon group for Sonia. And a couple people on Rinaldi Institute said, what's a Patreon? So it's just a crowdfunding kind of a group where those of us who truly believe in what Sonia does can dedicate a very small amount of money per month. We recommend $5, but if that's too much, you can go less than that if you feel the need to do more. But it's a group where we can just say, we honor your work, we trust your work, and there are experiences that you get as a member of our Patreon. So Sonia puts out e-magazines constantly, and I think there's like 32 or so now. Amy puts out newsletters all the time that just tell you, what she's up to, especially if she's changing some kind of a research thing. She got some intuition to try something else. Amy sends that out there. Back in the 80s, Sonia wrote a book in Portuguese, but it was a channeled book. And over the last year or so, we've had that book transcribed into English, and Amy has chopped it up into quarters, and we've given that for free to our Patreons. It's going to be out there for purchase, but we have shared it with the Patreons, or I should say Amy has, and we're going to be getting together to discuss it just like a book club. You can ask Sonia your questions about it. You get access to our Zoom events. So it's a really small price to pay. Oh, in addition, Sonia has not only written a book for children, but she's also illustrated it. So when you see that, she's like multi-talented. So we will put that, Sandra's going to send that link out to you. I just encourage you to just look it up and just see if it's something. So if you're looking for a way to support her, that's an excellent way to do it. So on that note, I would like to introduce you to my friend, the wonderful and dedicated Sonia Rinaldi.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. It's me now. Is it me? No? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
Hello, Sonia.
Hello. So before starting, I would like to thank, first of all, Sandra, for the opportunity of being here. Not only today, but I have to thank her publicly because she opened a door for me. And if today I am reaching the United States, it was due to Sandra. And there was an audio some 3 years ago in which Tesla said, the spread will happen through the north. So by the time I didn't understand that, now I perfectly understand that thanks to the door that Sandra opened, we now are spreading not only to the United States, but many countries. So thank you, Sandra. And I cannot also not to thank Lisa this week. She worked so hard for helping this meeting to happen. And also I have to thank Amy. I know that she's watching us because she's doing an incredible, absolutely incredible work. So if I am being able now to spread what the other side is doing, it is thanks to Sandra, Lisa, and Amy. So I have to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, as you say. Okay, so so let's just start. First of all, before we start in the presentation itself, I would like to tell you very quickly why I became interested in instrumental transcommunication. And this happened because when I was very young, something like 18 years old, I was thinking how important was the decision that you make regarding a religion. Because depends on the religion that you choose or that you feel sympathy, it will define the way you see life, right? So I was quite concerned because I raised in non-school, and so Catholic, and that wasn't making me very happy. It didn't reply my questions, and by that age of 18, I looked for the first time into a spiritualistic center, and obviously I felt at home. So I think that I thought that time that if you make a wrong choice, and imagine if you make an option for one religion that many years later you discover, oh my God, this is not true. For instance, the point of afterlife is fundamental. and many religions deny. So if I make a choice for something that some years later I would discover, oh my God, afterlife is real, I have had wasted so many years of my life trusting in something that is not real. So that's why I started recording, because I perceived that it was a solid way to have, after all, a proof or not that afterlife is real. So happily, I have got many, some thousand evidences, thousand proofs that afterlife is real. So, oh my God, I made the right choice, right? And the other thing that I would like to tell you is that today I'll be presenting how we progressed in our Milligan experiment. Milligan was in respect to Scott Milligan. So I named my series of experiences the Milligan experiment. And we started with version 1, and presently we are in version 6 because I went changing the equipment and so on. So that is what we are doing today. And at the end, I have very fresh news for everyone, because I wasn't recording audio for long. And about 10 days ago, I said, okay, let me try audios. And for God's sake, I think that everybody was surprised. I think that the other side gave a jump in evolution, as we will see at the end. And I think this is a fresh news because nobody saw this yet, right? So let's start. I will share my screen so that we can start, right? Okay, so we are going to talk about the transcommunication breakthrough with images and voices. So we are talking about instrumental transcommunication, but maybe not everybody knows what it is. So what is instrumental transcommunication? It is the communication from our side to the other side, or other sides, in plural, other dimensions, because as Lisa mentioned, we can do more than just talk to the deceased ones, which is our theme for today. Through electronic devices. That is, instrumental transcommunication will always imply in recording, in having it documented using electronic devices. So let's start talking about the Milligan experiment version 1. How I started it with the images, and it was a surprising results. And it is important to say why I named the experiments, this series of experiments, as Milligan in honor of Scott. It is because it happened that I was in Boston, and I had plans in my mind and on how to make the experiments, and I thought that I could improve it in a certain way. And Scott was the first to ask me, what do you need for improving your work? And then I said, oh, I would need, as my near imagination, 4, how do you call it? Projectors, micro projectors, and but it was expensive. And that same day, it was so funny because Scott is always funny, and he went to secretly to Best Buy and bought the 4 projectors for me. And so it was a surprise at the night, so it was so funny. And so that's why I named my series of experiments as Milligan. So, okay, so that's how Scott is in my experimenting life. What consisted in this first version? By that time, as I described it to him, I was thinking of making an egg, as this one here at left, based in this format that is used for making chocolate eggs for Easter, right? Usually we just find these by the time of Easter, by April, more or less. And then with two of it, I could make an egg, right? And so here you see what was my idea here at right. You see that my idea was to make this egg, transparent egg, and project inside it color aesthetic that we could find in internet or old television and those things, and project inside and see what's happened. That was my idea, and that Scott gave me those 4 projectors. Now let's see some results by that time. I'll show you first Bradford's Apparition. Bradford is the son of our friend Ana Fernandez. I think she's from Texas. And it was one of experiences in being surprised with an apparition of the young person as a child. Because this picture that you have here in the middle of the screen, Bradford's photo, his mother sent me. He was about 15 years old by the time that he died, right? That was what I knew about Bradford. So when I saw this little boy at our left, I thought, for God's sake, who is he? Obviously, I sent it to Anna, and for our surprise, this is another transimage of the same video. And then we discovered that the other side had sent it to us, Bradford's image when he was a little boy. Because that photo, this transimage here, his mother never saw, right? So it was important. And that we got an evidence that it didn't exist at all for anybody. And obviously I had no idea how Bradford was when he was a child. Now we have here Matthew's Apparition. This, I think, is one of the incredible cases, because I brought the video so that you can see how it happened live. So we received this image here of this little boy that we had no idea who he was. I simply started calling him the blue boy, right? Because of this blue light that was around. And so I showed it to my friends, and it was spread at the internet so that maybe we could discover who was this child. And then, for our surprise, Elisa, who now is my friend, but by the time it was absolutely a new person, from California, she sent this image of her little boy. But what is incredible, Matthew died at the age of 19, as we can see at our right. So the other side brought Matthew precisely like he was when he was a child, a little child, right? And in this video, you will see that this child moved the hands, moved the lips, right? Moved the eyes. So it is as if he was alive inside the egg, right? You can observe here, in the previous image, you could see his teeth. And now you see that his mouth is closed and he's looking to front. And in this other image, he's looking at right. So the child moves inside the egg. For you to see how it happens, here you are, the video. As I was recording with my cell phone on my hand, it shakes, as you notice, but it doesn't matter. The image was there. you see that he has his mouth. Now he is smiling. You can see the teeth. I had to hold some, to freeze some frames for you to perceive better. You see here another image with the teeth. He moves a little bit his head. And this is me shaking. He looks at the corner of the eye. This is me. Okay, so you see that it worked inside the egg. Okay, let's go ahead. Let me show you some other images that appeared inside the egg. So this is Valdomiro. He is Diana's father, and he is from Florida, died at the age of 77 years. And you see here, he inside the egg, that he is much younger and more healthy, beautiful. He's not an old man anymore. This is Melissa. Melissa is our super friend, Patricia's daughter. And here you are, Melissa inside the egg. You will listen me speaking about Melissa many times today. Patty is from Vermont, and Melissa died at the age of 18. Now, something curious. Melissa again. Look, she appeared as a child. And again, when I saw, I had no idea who she was, because we don't expect to see what we know that it was a teenager as a child. And then when I shared these transimage here at right with Patricia, she sent me this picture in the middle, showing that yes, it was quite alike Patricia's traces. So once more, they sent an image, an unexpected photo, because we have never seen, Patricia never saw this image of her daughter as in the transimage. Now we have Amber. Amber is our sweet friend Lisa's daughter. Amber passed at the age of 25, and look as she appeared, also as a little girl. And many other times she appeared as a little girl. So this photo, Lisa doesn't have, this one. She has other photos, obviously, of her childhood, but not this one. So I want to show you that inside the egg, many unknown appeared. Sometimes we discover who those unknowns are. Usually Amy is making a report of our unknowns and shared, and sometimes appear persons that recognize some of them. Also, I had to show these because it is such a beautiful case. This boy, let's say that we don't know precisely who he is or who he was, but you see the perfection of his lips, his teeth, and we called these Victorian boy, right? And maybe this boy, maybe is Daniel, Scott Milligan's guide, as he said that it was possible, right? I think that he wasn't very sure, and neither do we, but doesn't matter. It is an incredible video that I'll show to you. Observe that he will move also as the blue boy, open the mouth and smile and so on, right? We can see, this is the video. This is the static, the color is static over the egg, the plastic egg, right? So it is as if they are materializing inside the egg. Look that the face is being formed. I go freezing from time to time some frames. You see that he's opened his mouth. It is nearly all formed. You see that it is, now he is not exactly a teenager, it's a boy like some 20-something years old. Look at the lips. So this is, let's say, I think that this would let any scientist absolutely shocked, because it is impossible. We don't know this guy. We suppose that can be Daniel, but obviously we are not sure. And it moves inside the egg. So how is it happening? You know, this is an incredible science. Oh, I'm sorry. So let's move ahead now to the Milligan experiment version 2, when I changed it a little bit to improve the images. By this time, I was using 2 plastic eggs, one inside the other, plus static, plus vapor. Let's see what we got. The story of the vapor, once more, is something that I would say it is casual, because it happens without I think of that. But obviously the other side planned that so that I did it, so that I discovered it, so it was all planned. But for me, it was a surprise. I was just, it was a hot day, and then I said, oh, let me turn on the humidifier. And here is the humidifier at left, as you can see. And I perceived in the video that images like this owl was formed in the vapor. And then I said, oh, for God's sake, this is interesting for them to work. So let's use it, right? So this design was made by Amy, our super talented helper. So my idea was to use the humidifier inside, going up, crossing the eggs, and coming out outside the egg. As you will see, the spirit friends from the station showed to be able to create faces inside the egg and outside in this vapor around. So here is the microprojector. Here is my cell phone for registering. And here is the vapor going out from the humidifier. How I did it? Well, I say that my kitchen is the extension of my lab, because usually I go to kitchen to make my things. So I got to that egg that you saw that I wanted, that cost something like $2. And I made a hole in the top and put inside the other egg. So I had it double. I felt that I could get images in 3D if I had it in layers. So this was a layer. So, and then here we are. Look, this is Amber again, Lisa's daughter. And observe that again, she's younger. And after I got this transimage, Lisa sent me this picture of Amber when she was something, I think that by about 12 years old or something like that. So when she was younger, not as the time that she passed, with 25 years old. Here is Harry Edwards that appeared. Harry Edwards is Sherry Pearl's guide. And he also appeared inside the egg. Roger is Amy's father. And obviously the other side would bring something for making her happy, because she worked so much for them. So now you have an image inside the egg. again, he is younger because Roger died at the age of 43 in a car accident. And outside the egg, when the vapor was coming out, they also formed, they created this image here. So they created two images simultaneously. This is Michael, Linda's son, also inside the egg. Linda is from New York, and Michael died at the age of 25. Here is Olivia. In this image, you can see the vapor outside, and she appeared inside. And this is Olivia, as her mother, Jennifer Ford, sent it to me. And you see that she is different, but obviously it is still Olivia. Jennifer is from Kentucky, and Olivia died in a car accident at the age of 17 years old. Here we have Alejandro. Alejandro also appeared inside the egg, much, much younger. He died at the age of 53, and from heart issues. And this is our friend Diana, and he appeared as a young man. So let's move ahead. And by this time, that was finishing the Milligan project number 2, I was invited by Sandra to go to Orlando and to make a workshop. And obviously, I couldn't carry in my baggage the humidifier, all those things, right? So I took the minimum necessary, which was very small humidifier, and some transparent cloths. And we had in Orlando 43 attendees to make the courses, the workshops, which is Sandra divided into 4 groups of 10 persons each, right? More or less, because there was one that was 13 persons in the group, but so it made 43 persons. So what is important for you to note is that all these examples that I'm showing were witnessed by the persons in the room. So we had 10 persons there looking at what we were doing, right? They could see in 2 angles, in a television that was in front, and at the corner of the same room, they could see the recording being done at that moment, right? But before the other case, let me show you this very special case. It happened like this. In the day before that we arrived in Orlando, and before starting we are just preparing the room. So I was with Amy and Lisa and Brandon. They were helping me and covering the walls with the black cloth, and they were helping pulling chairs and so on. So when the things were settled, I asked Lisa, please sit down in front of the camera, my cell phone, and let's see if it is working, if it is good, the light, and so on. And we made a recording in the day before the workshops start. And then when I saw what was recorded, there appeared this boy. And then I showed Lisa, because it was her in front of the camera, she became this little boy and in the recording. So I said it to her, do you know this boy? And she said, no, I have no idea who he is. Okay, what a pity, because it was it would be a surprise for someone. But anyway, she went back to her room, Lisa, and there she was, for the first time in her life, she was sharing a room with someone else in a hotel. She never did it, as she told me. And she was with Stephanie. And then as Lisa made a copy of the transimage, she was happy to show Stephanie when she went to her room. And then she was so, oh, look, Stephanie, appeared this boy. Stephanie nearly had a heart attack. She said, it is my son. So it was such an incredible thing because never Lisa shared a room. And the day she shared a room, it was to show Stephanie's son. So it was something amazing. So this is Cameron. You can see that it is the cell phone of his mother. She has this photo, and casually it is so similar to the first apparition of that workshop. Here is Stephanie. And with her, we also discovered the other things because, see one thing, I was there to teach people how I record so that they could do it at their home as well. So I didn't know what to expect because it was the first time that I was doing it outside Brazil and with the minimum equipment. So it was so interesting because in the first group, I wanted one by one of the attendees come and sit down in front of the camera for making a test so that everybody could see how was the procedure and to see obviously also if anything happened. And it was curious because I needed the first one. And, you know, I think that persons were a little bit embarrassed. So I said, Stephanie, you come. Her name is, in truth, is Stefania. So I asked Stefania to come for the first person of the first group. And she sat down in front of my cell phone. And obviously all this was possible because Lisa and Amy and Brandon were helping me because, you know, it was a lot of persons. And we put the vapor in Stefania's lap so that the vapor was coming out over her face. And the other side could work also in her face and create images above her head. So this person that you see below is Stefania, completely changed. Here she appears as a humanoid. Look at the eyes. And over her head, you see that they created a beautiful, huge image in the vapor that she was holding. And as I said, besides her, there were other 9 persons in the same room watching what we were doing, right? This is another moment. You see that she's again different. It's not her again. And also this is the vapor. This, what you see here, is another chair. There was 2 chairs. Here, Stefania was sat down and this chair was empty. Sometimes I went to this chair and sat down aside the person. And you see that here at right, they built a beautiful image in the vapor. Now, this is another attendee, Graham from Thailand. He was there for making the course with us. And look at this. While we were filming Graham, in front of the persons that were there taking the course, look the beautiful image that the other side created. You have the impression that you can touch it, that it is solid, right? But it was just the vapor. And some of these items could be seen in the television simultaneously sometimes, but as it is so quick, and this is another incredible thing is that they do, obviously it is very fast and not always we can perceive, but it was all registered in the cell phone, right? So here are other images from Graham. Behind him, you see the size of the image and look at the teeth. it is so incredible that the teeth is shining, right? One more. Remember that I said that I took some transparent cloth for the course because it's something that I used here and I knew that it worked. So at this moment, you can see me at the right and Graham in the middle, and he was holding a cloth, a transparent cloth, so that you can see his face, and the vapor also going together, and you see the beautiful face they shaped in the vapor. This is technology, right? So it's, by the way, an incredible technology because they had to work in real time, right? This is Diana, and look at her experiment. Look at the size of the image that was built behind her. Behind her, there was just a black cloth that Amy put in the wall, hang in the wall. Again, still Diane. Look that you have the impression that it is solid. So this is a huge technology because they have to work on this, obviously, only in the device, right? These could be seen in the television because it was being connected. My cell phone was connected to the television that was in front of the 10 persons in the workshop. This is Janet, also a beautiful image that they built in the vapor. You see the vapor a little bit, and behind her, this beautiful face. Here we have Mary from Florida. And in this event, lots of people from Florida went because it was in Orlando, right? So look at the beautiful image behind Mary and this other one. The eyes, I think that seems nearly real. And Lily was a very interesting case. And she, after the recordings, I took them to Brazil and had to watch all those videos, right? And I sent back to each one of the participants, I sent the images corresponded to them. So I sent it to Lily, this image here at left, and then she sent back to me and said, oh, Sonia, I think that this is Frankie, my fiancé. And she was there at the workshop just because she had lost her fiancé, Frankie. So look at these beautiful images. So it is not a beautiful construction only, but it is also someone that could be recognized. Lily is from Illinois. This is Shane. Look at this beautiful image. So Shane is from Florida, and these, maybe, I don't know how clear you can see, but this image has the hair somewhat red. It seems like real hair. It is very, very beautiful image. This is the image that appeared with Lynette, that was in the workshop in the room. She's from California. This also is, I think, a beautiful trans image. Steve from England. He is from Banyan Retreat. And he was also participating and holding the cloth, as you can see, the transparent cloth, and it was used as a support for the other side to create a trans image. This is Fred, also in the workshop. And Fred was holding also the cloth. You see him in the yellow circle, and you see all faces that were created aside Fred. He is from Texas. Now, not only we had those incredible action. I say incredible in the meaning that scientifically, it would be something absolutely that nobody can explain, how the vapor can be shaped into an image, right? So more than that, we had many recognitions from the workshop in Orlando. These were a phenomenon called transfiguration. And if you don't know what transfiguration is, it is the case when a person is being, for instance, in front of the camera. Obviously in the past, when it was discovered, these transfiguration scales, obviously there were only mediums, it was not ITC yet. And it happened like this. The medium was, let's say, in the room with people, audience, and then the public, the audience could see the face of the medium changing into other person. So this became known as transfiguration. But in ITC, this happens very, very frequently. And obviously it's not used the medium anymore, but any person, right? Here we have this case of Brandon. Brandon was in the workshop, not only participating of the workshop, but he was helping me as well. And he became these, in truth, much more than these three little girls, but I just selected to show you these three little girls. But he appeared as some 50 different persons, Brandon. So look that these girls are absolutely different than Brandon's face. And this first one, this blonde girl that I selected to show, he is from New York, right? And this girl wasn't recognized by anyone up to now, right? So it is a blonde girl. She has, let's say, green eyes possibly, and is smiling, and long hair. Absolutely different from Brandon, right? And this was Brandon modified in front of the camera. That is, I started recording Brandon's image, and in the video, he started changing, and become these persons. And I was recording more or less 2 or 3 minutes with each participant, each attendee, right? So it was very short, but it was time enough for the other side to send these images. Again, we see Brandon now with a girl, little girl that was recognized. When Amy spread these images, Susan sent the image of Brittany, her daughter, and you observe that Brandon became Brittany. You see, long hair, the format of the mouth, and obviously this is not Brandon, right? It was a transfiguration. And also this other little girl, much younger, also over Brandon's face, and she was recognized by Danielle as her daughter. Look at Lily Buggy. So imagine the happiness of this mother. Look that we can see her teeth, clear eyes, blonde. Lily Buggy had another apparition in the same workshop. When we had Emily in front of the camera, you see here, this is Emily from Florida, and behind her, or side, in the vapor, it was created this image, right? I repeat, it is in the video, right? Because it is recorded. It is in the video of the process. So we started with Emily's face, and then we had this vapor being shaped, and observed that it looks like Lily Buggy in her second apparition in the same day. Now we have Sandra. Sandra also participated of the workshop, and with the vapor here at her side, we also could identify, after we spread, because we didn't know who this little child was, Olivia identified her daughter, and I don't know if it's pronounced Kyra or Kira, anyway, and sent the photo for us. And here we are, is in Sandra's, aside Sandra. Sandra, I think everybody knows that she's from Boston. Here we have also Richard's case. Richard was transfigured into this boy which maybe can be Michael Jackson. At least it was what some persons thought and sent me this picture of Michael Jackson. It looks like maybe, but some detail that called my attention in this transimage was the following. If you notice this here, I don't know how you call this, in Michael, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I lost it. And let me see if I can return. Yeah, I don't know how you call this, but if you pay attention in the transimage, it has it here aside the ear, right? So maybe it is Michael Jackson, but we don't know for sure. We also had Bill. Bill lost his daughter, but it wasn't her that appeared in this moment. She appeared in this workshop, but I'm showing you another case. Bill is from Louisiana, and this transimage in the middle is Bill transfigured into his mother, Mrs. Berta. Okay, this is Mrs. Berta when she was alive. Here we have Michelle. Michelle is from South Florida, and it was a special case for me because one thing that caught my attention when I saw this transimage was that it was a strong lipstick. And I wasn't sure if Michelle was using lipstick. And then before anything, I wrote it to her asking if she was using lipstick in the day of the workshop because I didn't remember. And she promptly said, no, I never use lipsticks. So I thought that Michelle looks like my mother. My mother's name is Itala. So observe that the lipstick was something strong and the lips was thicker than Michelle's. And you here have my mother also using lipstick as it was used by the time. So maybe it's my mom. Here we have Emily again in a beautiful transimage. Who is she? Amber, Lisa's daughter. Look at this image. I think it is a word of art. Here we have Patricia. Patricia was, well, happened lots of transfigurations over Patricia, but in this case, she was transfigured into this little girl that was recognized by Maureen as her daughter, Kathleen Ray Kane. Okay, Maureen is from Healing Warrior Parents group, and Patty is from Vermont. Again, Patricia, as I said, many things happened to her. Again, she was transfigured here in another image that she recognized as being her mother when her mother was younger. She had this picture here of her mother, of her wedding day, and the traces are similar, in spite of that in the transimage it is much younger. Again, Patricia, with Melissa's apparition. This was an absolutely interesting case. Patricia is Melissa's mother, right? And see, this is her at the day of the workshop, okay, as she was in front of the camera. And here is how Patricia was transfigured. This picture in the middle, this beautiful young girl, looking like having a flower in the hair. And later, Patricia, obviously after the workshop, Patricia sent me this photo from Melissa, and you see that it is very similar. So Patricia was transformed, was transfigured into her daughter. And we have a special detail in this case. Before, Patricia had sent me previously a photo of her daughter, Melissa. And this is at left, the face of Melissa as I knew of the photo, with this hair straight, I don't know exactly how to say, in this picture, it is not curled. It is straight or plain, I don't know how to say. But so I thought that Melissa's hair was like that. And I thought it was strange because in the transimage, she appeared with these curls. And then Patricia sent me this picture of Melissa showing that her real hair was curled and not straight as she made us when she was a bit older, right? So that was incredible because I didn't know that Melissa's real hair was like that, right? You here observe the difference of the plain hair, or I don't know how to say, and the curled hair. Here we have Caleb, which is also from healing warrior parents. And sometimes the other side send images with some detail that exists for the mother to remember, right? So we spread this transimage at left, and April perceived that this was her son, Caleb. I don't know if it's pronounced Caleb, but Lily, that one that brought the fiancé, also brought this beautiful image in the vapor during the workshop. And this image was recognized by Erin Perry as being her son, Robert. David and Shirley was also at the workshop. David is a famous medium, and I was filming Shirley, and in her place appeared her mother, Mrs. Marge. David and Shirley are from Indiana. This was a special image because this happened in my lab, not in the workshop. And we had this Asiatic boy, and obviously we also didn't know who he was. And when Amy spread it, Mr. Imbo Park's wife, Jihei, she's possibly watching us today from South Korea. She recognized that it was her husband. And as I had the opportunity to show, it seems that Tesla inaugurated a station for the area of Asia. Here we have another apparition, this time using glasses. It is curious because in the other side, they don't need glasses. But I think that if it is not for the glasses, the mother, Maria, wouldn't recognize her son, Benny. Also, Lini's son, Niels, was recognized by her mother, and we had this transimage at left and Niels at right. Now, this was something very interesting. We had Bill in front of the camera, and he was transformed into this guy, and he was recognized as being Johnny. Johnny is our friend Joseph's brother, and this was his first apparition, because later he would appear again in my lab. So he appeared in the workshop in Orlando, and later here in my lab, as we will see. Now, let's jump to the end of the experiments, and I call this experiment running in water device, because these instructions came through Scott Milligan in a seance with Daniel, and he asked something that would move the water inside domes. So as per his description, we built this device that you see here, so that it is composed of an electrically running disc. This disc turns around. My garden hose, you see that, as I said, not only my kitchen makes part of my lab, but my yard as well. And it's a contribution from my yard. The domes, you see that there are two domes here inside, one inside the other. There is the water collector, because obviously this hose will bring water as requested by Daniel, Scott Milligan's guide, and would come down. So we had to pull it out, right? So this is how we collect the water and how it goes out again through the window. We had to be creative because we didn't know how to do it. So here is me, like I make the recordings with the cell phone. Usually the cell phone is enough presently. And here is one of the projectors that was given by Scott Milligan. The projectors keep it running in the disk. And what we discovered is that with this device, they can create images inside the domes and outside the domes. Here, Johnny, remember Johnny? He appeared outside the dome. I was using vapor also as well, and he appeared. Observe that this was when he was a bit younger, and here, I think that it was more close when he passed. And I also received this design, and I thought maybe it could be Daniel. What we know about Daniel is this design that was made by someone who could see the spirit. And I think that it has some funny traces. So this design appeared aside the domes, which maybe is his image. We have not exactly, we're not sure, but, and also I think this image is very beautiful. It was created inside the domes, and you see that it also seems solid. And now let's move to our last part of the voices, right? So what happened is that for some months, I wasn't recording voices. And only from time to time, just to make a question, some questions, mainly I asked about the pandemic some 1 or 2 months ago. And all these were published in our reports and distributed for free for our Patreon people. And, but I wasn't recording with the deceased ones, let's say. I was just recording to get information from how they've, he was one pioneer of instrumental transcommunication, or Tesla. And they sent curious information about the pandemic and so on, as it was published. And these days, about 1 week or 10 days, more or less, I decided to record again with the deceased ones. And as you possibly know, Tesla is making the revolution, let's say. I think that the communication that you and your grandchild will listen in the future will be thanks to Tesla. And he is making a revolution for transmitting to Earth, right? And I'll play some audios. This was not of 1 week ago, but I brought the other ones. But it's just for you to listen how Tesla speak. So I ask Tesla, is that possible for you to appear in image and talk to me? And he replies, possible, and I will. I am sure that he will, because he makes, all the time he makes the impossible. Let's listen.
Is that possible for you to appear in image and talk to me?
Okay, so let's go to the next one. Oh, well, my idea was I tested a new idea. I think that we have to understand that to make research is usually not to repeat what you learned already. So every time, nearly every some weeks, I change everything, devices, way of recording, because that is to make the research, is to try to better, right? So about 10 days ago, I thought to myself, well, maybe I could ask Tesla to speak on behalf of some deceased ones, because obviously he is the boss. He knows much better than the deceased ones, our loved ones, right? So I decided to ask him questions about some deceased ones, and I chose some of them, and I chose to put questions to Roger to know if he had any message for Amy, his daughter. I also asked the news or anything that Tesla could talk about Murray. Murray is the husband of Betty Annie from Canada. Also, obviously, about Melissa. I wanted to know if Tesla could say something on her behalf. Obviously, about Amber, right? If he had any message from her to Lisa. Also from Mr. Ingle, and just those ones. Though, besides replying about all them, by his own, Tesla gave a message to Ty's mother, Robin, right? I didn't ask anything about Robin, but he said something to Robin and gave that name and so on. So look, now I have something different to show to you, because I asked the Tesla if Amber was with him, okay? Now, pay attention to the reply. Tesla, on behalf of Amber. It is not Amber directly, but Tesla is speaking in her name, right? He said, as in Sunday, waiting father and mother. You understand later, okay? Let me play it so you can can listen to the audio.
Is Amber with you?
As it is Monday, great Father, Father and Mother. As it is Monday, great Father, Father and Mother. As it is Monday, great Father, Father and Mother.
Now, then, obviously I sent it to Lisa and I asked her, do you do anything on Sundays that Amber participates? And she was thinking, she said, no, I don't think so. But she kept it thinking. And then,
Is Amber?
no, here. And then I got Lisa's words about this case. So she will explain to you what this means, because she also took some hours to discover. So this is Lisa speaking.
So when Sonia first told me that she had received a voice message from my daughter, I was excited to hear what she had to say, but I was so confused. I looked at it, Waiting Sunday, Father, Father, and Mother, and it meant nothing to me. Nothing at all. I was thinking, you know, all the time when my kids were little, their dad was in the Army, so he was gone an awful lot. We really didn't do anything together on Sundays. I just did church with the kids, and you know, sometimes we would take a walk or something like that, but I couldn't understand it. So I shared it with my husband, and he said, why are you thinking about when the kids were little? Shouldn't you be thinking about things that are happening now, because they try to give evidence that they're here, that they're with you? And I was still, okay. And he's staring at me, and he's like looking at me like, come on, come on. And then it hit me. Back in March, Nick Whittam from Banyan Retreat out in the UK started putting their online healing session, or it wasn't online, it's online now. This will be the 10th week. And my husband and I started doing that every week. We didn't miss 1 week. And I would say to him, oh my gosh, I feel her. You know, I'm tingling, I feel her. And then we, after that, would do Sandra's online gathering service every Sunday without fail. So, and I'd feel the same thing. You know, sometimes I'd have the itchy nose, or sometimes I'd get the, you know, like all lit up on my arms. And I think that that's what she's saying, that she's waiting for Sunday for Father, Father, and Mother. I know she's with us.
So I think that this was so interesting, because Tesla sent you this message, and obviously I didn't know. Lisa never mentioned that she was participating of these Sundays gatherings, and I just discovered after of this.
So when Sonia first told me that.
Okay, now we have Melissa. I asked Tesla if he could say something on behalf of Melissa, and he said, Mother, this little son. And I sent it to Patricia and asked her, does it make any meaning to you? And then she made this declaration here.
Hi, I'm Pat McHenry, and I'd like to make a comment about the EVP that was received from Tesla to Sonia. It was my daughter, Melissa, giving a message, you are my little son. That has such meaning to me, because when we had block parties on our block in the summertime, when she was younger, we would have talent shows, and she would sing You Are My Sunshine. I mean, it was like one of her favorite songs. She always sang it. And also the year before she passed, she had earned her Girl Scout Gold Award, and I had bought her a mantra bracelet, might have been 2 years before actually, that said, you are my sunshine on it. And she wore it all the time, like she didn't take it off. And also at her wake, they played that song because everyone knew that song pertained to her. So this is such an amazing, message to get from her because it has such meaning. So it's just so her, and it's so authentic to her that it brings me such joy, because it's such a tragic thing losing your child, and receiving a message like that, she lets me know she's still with me. So I couldn't be more happier that that's the message I received, because it means something so much to me. Thank you.
So let's move ahead. And again, we had another message. I think that Melissa was inspired that day. And Tesla also said, on behalf of Melissa, I asked, what about Melissa? Is Melissa around? I asked it Tesla, right? And on behalf of Melissa, he replied, when you breathe, I'm here. I thought it was such a nice message. I thought, well, which mother in the world wouldn't love to listen to this incredible message, right? And again, Patricia will explain what it means for us.
And what
When you
about
breathe, I am
Melissa?
here.
Is Melissa around?
That EVP really hits home because
Oh, wait, I messed it up here. Wait a second. Oh, here.
And what about Melissa? Is Melissa around?
When you press the line again. When you press the line again. When you press the line again.
So now, yes, let's listen to Patricia.
when you breathe, I am here. That EVP really hits home because I sense her all around me. It's like I know she's with me. I can just talk to her. Between all these EVPs that I've received from her, they all resonate. And I feel her with every breath I take. So the fact that she would relay this message to Mr. Tesla, to let Sonia know, to let me know, I do feel with every breath I take that girl is with me. She really is a strong spirit. And just a little tip, trust yourself, know they're with you. They want us to heal. And I can't say it any other way, but thank you. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Mr. Tesla. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Mr. Tesla. Thank you, Melissa, for these messages. They resonate so much with me in my heart.
Okay, let's move ahead. Oh, as you can notice, I tried to bring cases that could be
And what about
endorsed by the mothers. And then in the following week, I decided to do something even more complicated. Besides asking news for Tesla about some boys, I decided to risk and ask them also directly. So I asked Amy, I said to Amy, let us form a group by age and by January. For instance, I asked her, please send me cases that we can have in our Patreon from boys in the ages of 15 years old and 25 years old. So this group here. And I said, let's see how it works. And maybe later we can do with girls, little boys, older persons, and so on. So I selected, she sent me these persons here: Josh, Billy, Alex, Matthew, Dean, I cannot see that name, Caleb, Ali, Alejandro, Cameron, I can see, no, that is Frankie, Kyle, Blake, Dimitri, Joaquin, Ty, and Niels. So I chose this group to start making an experiment. As I told you, all the time I am changing the way I record so that we can improve. So let me play for you a message of this recording from Nils. He says, "You guy man, what you are doing is great." I think it was so kind of him to say this. Listen.
You got it, man. What you're doing is great. You got it, man. What you're doing is great. You got it, man. What you're doing is great. Okay, now let us listen. Another boy of this group, Louis. I don't know if it is this the pronunciation, but I suppose he is Gina's son, and he said it's such a beautiful message. He said, "In the last years of your life, you are going to have an incredible. You will. I cannot say because it's behind behind Lisa here, but you will understand by the audio. Incredible experiences, meaning that." Yeah, in truth, we expected that in the next years, we will have improved so much the communication with the other side that he says, in the last years of your life, let's listen. For the last years of your life, we're going to have this incredible experiences. For the last years of your life, we're going to have this incredible experiences. For the last years of your life, we're going to have this incredible experiences. So, let's move ahead. You got it, man. What you're doing. Oh, I'm sorry. Then we have here Elisa's son, Matthew. And I say to him, because this time I was talking straight to him. I say, "Matthew, your mother Elisa is my friend. Do you know?" And he says, "This is one of the greatest advantages. In truth, it is because I was helping Elisa with her recordings. So it was an advantage that her mother had for being my friend," right? Let's listen.
Matthew, your mother Elisa is my friend, do you know?
This is one of the greatest advantages. This is one of the greatest advantages. This is one of the greatest advantages. So cute of him. And here I asked Alex to say something to Katarina, her mother from California. And he says, "Need learning experiences." Wow. It is a deep message because, yes, that is why our life is for learning experiences, right? So that is Alex's message.
Alex, say something to Katarina.
You need learning experiences. You need learning experiences. You need learning experiences. Right?
Matthew,
Matthew,
your mother.
Oh my God, this is confused. Well, now we have what I think it is, I left for nearly the end, a very special case. And this case is the following. I asked Tesla if he had any message from Cameron to his mother, Stefania. So at the end of the recording, before I thank him, Tesla sends this message: "Getting just all." Then I say, "Thank you, Mr. Tesla." And then he replied, "And father." Well, I was talking to Cameron, and then I sent this to some friends, Lisa, Jennifer, for helping me to see if I understood correctly. And then Jennifer talked to Stephanie about this message. Let's listen first. So getting justice is all, and then and father.
Getting justice on.
Thank you, Mr. Tisla.
And father. Getting justice on.
Thank you, Mr. Tisla.
And father. Getting justice on.
Thank you, Mr. Tisla.
And father.
Now, obviously, we didn't understand the message, but
Getting.
now Stefania will explain it to you. And I think this is absolutely amazing. Let's listen to her explanation of what is the meaning of this message.
I was talking to Jennifer Brazier on Thursday. She had mentioned asking me if I've received the recordings of the voices or the boys' messages, and I had not. So our conversation was about to end, and I was about to leave my house and go away for several hours. So I begged her, please just tell me your favorite recording from Cameron. And she had said it was one where he was saying he's getting justice is all, getting justice in all. A father or an father. Well, when she was telling me, she said justice, getting justice. And I freaked out in a good way. I was like, oh my God, Jennifer, not justice. It is Justice, one of his dogs. If that's not validation, what is? You can't be satisfied.
So I think that this was so incredible, because we could ever imagine that a dog could be called justice, right? So, and other things, Cameron's father that he mentions also passed. So he says that he is with the dog Justice and his father. And obviously I didn't know that Cameron's father had passed. And in the same recording, still Tesla says that Cameron is saying hello to his sisters in the plural. And then I contacted Lisa and I said, oh, did you know that Stefania has 2 daughters besides Cameron? And Lisa told me, no, I don't think so. I think that she just had Cameron. Well, anyway, I will ask. And so she did. She contacted Stefania, and for our surprise, yes, Cameron has 2 half-sisters. So nobody knew this, and it was mentioned in the recording. Now, still from Cameron, now speaking directly to him, he says, this is one of the greatest invents. I think he refers, obviously, to this kind of communication. Let's listen. I'm sorry.
Hi, Cameron.
This is one of the greatest invents.
Hi, Cameron.
This is one of the greatest invents.
Hi, Cameron.
Okay, and in another one, I say, Cameron, dear, your mom, Stefania, would like so much to listen to you. And he replies, well, he's showing up. So let's listen.
Cameron, dear, your mother, Stefania, would like so much to listen to you.
Well, it's showing up. Well, it's showing up. Well, it's showing up.
Okay, and again, Stefan will comment these audios for us.
And then today you send me the other messages, which I think the first one was, this is the greatest, one of the greatest events.
That's the text. This is one of the greatest events.
Some people might hear events, but I do believe I heard invent, and that hits home to me because Cameron loved inventions. And he loved Mr. Tesla. So he's very fascinated. So I know that's what he's saying, that they probably brought him in the station or in a room in the station, and he probably didn't even care about talking to us because he was probably just looking around. The next one was, well, he's showing up. That was a message from Cameron, something after you had asked.
This is the text.
I don't remember which, I don't have it right in front of me, but his personality was definitely a smart A. Well, I'm here. I showed up. I'm here. Of course, I'm going to talk to her. So I thank you again, and I thank everyone that puts any time and effort into this. And please let us know what we can do for you. Thank you.
Okay.
And today you sent.
Now, it is the last message, and it is for all of you, in truth. And I was talking that Tesla had mentioned Robin without me asking about her. And then I say, Mr. Tesla, you left a message to Robin last week, right? And he replies, I love to give give So I think I chose this to finish this presentation because he says that he loves to give flowers. That is, he loves to make the persons happy. And I'm sure that he's listening to us right now, and he'll be pleased to know that he is making happy so many mothers, right? So let's listen.
Mr. Tesla, you left a message to Robin last week, right?
Her love was given to flowers. Her love was given to flowers. Her love was given to flowers.
So with this, I think that I gave you an overview of my work. And this is just our logo and our ending of the presentation. And now I think if Sandra wanted to talk to people, I will make an interruption here and come back here.
Thank you so much, Sonia. The work that you have put into this, absolutely amazing. And we are going to open it up to some questions if you want to put a question in the box there. But I also wanted, before I go on, I forgot to mention, we are in the midst of doing a film about Sonia, a documentary called Rinaldi, Instrumental Transcommunication with the Other Side. Our friend Robert Lyon is filming it and producing it, and there's a bunch filmed, but the next step was he and I and Amy were going to take a flight to Brazil in a couple of weeks ago and film Sonia in the laboratory. So thank you to everyone who has generously donated towards that project, and even being here and the Patreon site. It is amazing. I am one of the people with Patreon, and Sonia has, I think, over 30 of these e-magazines, and she gave you the teeniest, tiniest bit of her work. There are literally thousands of images, even of the scientist Tesla and even some of the others. You will get goosebumps, I promise you. Sonia, thank you for the hard work. Someone has asked a question, sorry to interrupt you, about your recordings. Do you have a sound source that you use to record? If you could talk a little bit, because I think people might want to try doing these recordings for their loved ones. But if you would give just how you go about doing the recording, the voice.
Yeah, obviously I changed the way I recorded in the last years,
some thousand times, perceiving what was better for the other side and how they worked. Something that person doesn't perceive, and it took me some years to perceive, is that the phenomena of voices has to happen in our space-time. It is not some wave that comes magically from their side and somehow comes inside our devices. No, it is not. It depends on the sounds on our side that will be shaped into sentences from the other side. So obviously, I tested 1,000 sound sources to perceive that the best is to avoid anything that sounds dirty, like, for instance, running water or the shower. These are dirty. It is not a voice clean. And as a consequence, the voices will appear dirty too. That is, the person has to perceive. And also, since it depends precisely in 100% of what we offer, it means that if you, for instance, if you offer a dirty sound, the replies, the paranormal contacts will be dirty. If you offer a low sound, the voices will sound low. So it depends on what you offer. This is something very important. The person doesn't notice that, thinks that it magically comes. This is science, it is not magic, right? So what I discovered is that for instance, the best, obviously, now that is what I use. Whatever I have to depends on the age of the boy or the girl or the person. I try to find a similar age. For instance, to recording with these boys that I played now, I used a voice that was from Sherry Pearl's son. Her son gave me his voice. That is, he read a text, and this sound, this file of his voice was broken into very small portions that cannot be identified. For instance, like T, V, G, all this was the sound broken into very small pieces. And these pieces played in our space-time will be reorganized by the other side and become the replies. So this process of broken the sound, etc., was an application, software that was developed by a volunteer here in Brazil. He is professor of informatics in university, and he created a software for us that brokes these, any sound, any voice. He supplies me, for instance, this file for the boys has something like 3,000 small pieces, right? With no sense. It's so short that you cannot not even grasp what it doesn't make a word at all. And it is played in randomically way, these 3,000 small pieces. So it can start with the first segment we call, and then the 30, and then this 100. So it keeps jumping, so that never it will produce the same sound ever, because it is randomic. And these 3,000 sounds can be played eternally, and never will be the same sound ever. So that is a way that we have the clear voices, because these voices is clean, and at the same time, it is manipulated by the other side and constructed the sense that they are replying. Now that you understand, you can imagine which is this technology in which they can work in our space-time and transform that sound that I'm offering into a reply. So it is absolutely an amazing technology that they've developed, Tesla developed. So that's what they do. And you may ask, but how do you know that what is being played, these segments, is what they will use? Obviously, because they will maintain the same voice, the same accent, precisely what I'm offering, except that it becomes a message, right? So that is their technology.
Yes, very good. And for people interested in this, I will include in the replay link Sherry Pearl's YouTube video explaining about this, because unfortunately people can't contact you directly we would get thousands of people looking to have help doing this, Sonia. And am I right that you don't work with people individually if people contact you?
Now, in truth, I think that I am for the research to help the other side to develop their technology, because it doesn't work in our side. Observe that everything, let's say 90–80% is their action. Our action is some 2%, nearly nothing. So they have to work and better their technology. And that is what I have been helping them so that they can test. So whenever I make the recordings, I try to do both, to help the other side and at the same time, if it's possible, to help people here, as the persons can identify their loved ones in images or receive those audios. For instance, this case of Justice that Stefania explained, it was the name of the dog. It's something amazing, because nobody would have never an idea that a dog, I wouldn't imagine that a dog could call Justice. So I think this is a kind of help, but but in truth, I don't dedicate my time for individually, because the person may imagine that she may pay. No, this doesn't matter for me. My work is for the other side, and obviously I help people here as a consequence, right? So and happily we are doing both at the same time. So yeah, in truth, but obviously, as I said, for instance, I will make new groups. Let's say girls from the age of 8 to 15 years old. Another group, so if the person is in our Patreon, these persons will be the ones that I will use, right? Because I don't know too many persons. I have to use those persons so that I can test and then assist those persons.
Thank you, Sonia. And this is a good opportunity too for people who are interested to learn and start working with your loved ones on the other side to do this, because nothing is better, and I have collected some of these voices, than hearing these voices. The Patreon site that we keep talking about, it's a small group. It's patreon.com/Sonia Rinaldi.
Join.
And join.
Join/Sonia Rinaldi /sign up.
Okay, it'll be in the email that I send.
Yeah.
But she and Lisa and Amy put so much, and she speaks regularly in private groups to the Patreon members. And what she's saying is this is where she gets the volunteers for some of these projects. So I can't recommend it enough. A very, very small donation. And we know you've donated here, which Tony has never asked for a penny. So we are grateful to be able to help her. Sonia, someone asked the question, if you wonder if our grief can hold the spirits from moving on. She lost her mom and she's grieving so much and is scared she's holding her back. Do you see people or hear people that have recently passed?
Oh, look, I think this is a very interesting question. And I try to be clear, because it is not precisely as she said that the interest of the person on our side would damage the progress of the person in the other side. Now, look, one thing is real, and this is very important for all people that is listen to us. Yes, in a certain way, whenever you have the person in the other side and you are suffering, you transmit this suffering for the person. So, as much as possible, you have to avoid to keep it crying, and because persons sometimes think that if they cry a lot, it means that they love. No, it is the opposite. If you do love your loved one, hold it. Make the incredible effort of not suffering, because you'll be hurting the person. I'll tell you one thing. When my husband died 15 years ago, I received these instructions. For 15 days, I shouldn't think of Fernando, because whenever, obviously, I would remind of one cloth, something in the house, I would be hurting him. And I was told that the deceased one, just when they arrive, they are so sensitive because everything is so fresh for him. So if you think and think, oh my God, I'm desperate, you are hurting as a knife in the body of the person, and nobody knows this. So you have to be, it is very hard, but that is how you show that you love. If you can accept this reality, because one thing that I learned is that everyone goes to the other side in the day that has to go. So it was not the doctor's fault. It was not the father's fault because he gave it a motto. It is not the mother's fault because she allowed the girl to go somewhere. No, the boy or the girl died because he had to go that day. So how we can help is thinking positively, not suffering. This suffer hurts the person, right? We have to be careful. And so replying better to this person that put this question, look that it is not that you damage the way of the person to progress. No, they want to be close to us, but they don't want to see us crying. They don't want to see the daughter in despair and see that we are missing them and we are unhappy. No, they can progress, but together with us. It is not something that, my mother died and she disappeared of my life. No, your mother will be at your house so many times, but she doesn't want to see you suffering. This is bad. So it is not exactly as you said, that the person has his way damaged. No, the deceased one wants to feel loved as he was before he passed, because for him nothing changed. So you all have to be careful when you cry, because this is not love. If you love your loved one, you have to, to hold and say, no, let's go ahead together. And I'm not suffering, I'm brave. And these will make the person in the other side relief and breathe. Oh, for God's sake, the person in earth accepted that it was my time, right?
Thank you. And to our friend that asked the question, and everyone, I think we are joined by grief. I have spent now almost 25 years in search of the afterlife. Your loved one is fine. They're great. They close their eyes here, they open them there, and it's beautiful. There's no time where they are. So for them, it's a blink of an eye and you'll be over there with them. But what I've learned, and as Sonia says, especially with a lot of tears and crying, of course, we have to honor our grief. You cannot, it's not easy to just turn it off, nor should you. You have to go through it. But those times that you're feeling good, you're feeling yourself again, that raises your energy, and energy is needed for them to come through. So we honor your grieving process because it is a long, long road. But if you can find doing some things that make you feel good, I'll send you the video of Sherry Pearl. Maybe you're interested in starting your own EVPs. Put your passion into the communication, and you watch. It'll help you lift your grief, and then also open the doorway for communication. Sonia, people are asking, one gentleman asked, who was Nikola Tesla? And also, who are these scientists? How do you know it's them, these guys?
Well, it was like this. For many years, I tried it many years until 2014, right? Before, I tried it to record anything in English, and it was absolutely impossible. I only discovered many, many years later, and I'll not enter in this matter for not be long. But by this time of 2014, I had an invitation from Craig Hogan to go to an Afterlife event. And I said, for God's sake, I cannot take voices in Portuguese. People will not understand. So what is the importance of something that they don't know what it means, right? So I was worried. I tried all the ways possible. I made the recording with persons living in the United States to see if this helped. Well, everything, and nothing helped. I couldn't record one word in English. And I was so upset. And then by this time, I was insisting and insisting. And by this time I met Betty Ann from Canada. She lost her husband, Murray. And then I said, oh, let me try, who knows? And then in the recording, Murray was the first person to inform that Tesla was there for improve all the communications on Earth. And then when I listened to Tesla, I said, which Tesla? Is that possible that Nikola Tesla? No, Nikola Tesla will not speak to me, imagine. And then things went on, and all of a sudden, I started recording sentences in English, and went until this quality that you saw now. And obviously, in some few years, this is his geniality. Otherwise, it wouldn't be working like this. And he changed the older process of communicating to us. He used black holes, wormholes to send data to us. So he's making tests after tests and driving mad all the people of the station, because people say that it is very hard to work with him. But he's getting all these results. And the technology that this implies, obviously, it has to be absolutely genius, because no one scientist on Earth would be able to explain how the process, how it happens, right? You may admit that it happened, but you don't know how. So it has to be Tesla, the Nikola ones. And sometimes, and once he said in a recording, this is your Nikolas. And it was curious because he put an S at the end. This is your, very kind, Nikolas. And I thought, well, he was known as Nikola, not Nicholas. But this version of Nicholas exists as well. So it is him.
It is him, and you've had other scientists as well. For our friend, do a Google search on Nikola Tesla, and he actually predicted, was it 100 years ago, that there would be something like our cell phone. very famous scientist, inventor. We have a friend who asked, could you explain the stations, the North Station, South Station?
Yeah, well, look, it's just like this. I notice that now, which that I have so many friends in the United States, that people doesn't have knowledge of spiritualism. And all my formation was inside the spiritualist doctrine. So I read many books by Chico Xavier, by Allan Kardec, and all many important and known writers. And it becomes so clear how things work in the other side. And I see that my American friends has an idea that the other side is something like transparent, as a cloud, as a vapor. No, the other side is as solid as ours. And they have technology much more advanced than ours. So it's not talking about the people from the future, right? For not evolving to another topic. But yes, it is solid. They have technology. They transmit to us, they test through wormholes now. And all this is possible because of the technology they developed. So it is something, a station there, it is something bigger than our CNN, BBC from London and so on. It is a place where there is a station full of equipment, full of scientists. What we have to think is that when we die, obviously we will be interested in doing what we did already. For instance, a medical doctor that dedicated his life, his whole life for 80 years in a hospital and as a surgeon and so on, and he dies, what will he do? Will he be praying? Or he will try to work in the same hospital and inspire the other medical doctors and be present in surgeries and help. So they are constantly developing the same trend they had before. And all inventors, what would they be doing? Would Tesla or Thomas Edison or any other one do what in the other side? Pray? If they can help your humanity with their geniality, that is what they will do. So this station is something solid, real, that is in contact with us through technology.
Very good answer. That's great. Someone asks if you think you're a medium and this is just work that you can do, or do you think other people will be able to do it also? And the second part of the question is, how do you think we as private individuals can communicate with our loved ones?
Oh my God. I would say that if I am a medium, well, I usually say that I'm not. And why? Because in the work that I do, I don't need to be medium because it is not through me, right? When we listen to the word medium, we have to interpret it as a tube when something enters here and get out there, right? So enters here and get out there. So it's a tube empty, right? This is a medium. The medium has to receive the information and pass it through, right? That's not the case in ITC, in instrumental transcommunication. I'm not used as a medium, right? What is used as a medium are the devices. The devices are the mediums, right? So I don't have to be, but it helps if the person with the time automatically develop the intuition, because this is very, very important for the other side. Many times they have to tell you what they need, and it is not possible to do it through devices yet. So it inspires you and you precisely know what to do. Many times I made things that I could never imagine that I would do. For instance, once I was recording with a couple here, and all of a sudden, from nothing, I got a torch like this one, and this one. And instead of pointing to the couple that was there, I pointed it to the opposite, to the wall. And then I didn't know why I was doing that. And incredible images came. So it's things like that. That is intuition. And this is a kind of mediumship, but it's not the mediumship that persons is used to listen, which is the tube. I'm not the tube, right? So yes, intuition helps, but these you develop with the time as they discover that they have interest on you. And about if anyone can do, yes, since you cause interest in the other side. This is complicated because they need someone who dedicates. He cannot work with a person that says, well, oh, today I have nothing to do, and so I will record. And then the next weekend you don't record because there is the football, and the other you have something else. No, they will put their effort in persons dedicated. So what they need are not mediums. They need it. Serious persons, honest persons, and determined persons. And this is much more difficult to find than the mediums. So anyone can do everything I do. Since
Just
they
have the commitment.
Yes.
Yes, it's a commitment. Even we look at some of the great mediums, they have worked for years with the spirit world. They have practiced for years. I mean, really big commitments. And you and I that are watching right now, we are all powerful souls having a human experience. But some of us have a gift of being a piano player. Some of us have to practice. So there really is that intention behind it and commitment. But if you are starting to feel this pull on your soul that this is something you want to explore, there might be a very good reason. Sonia, could people get one of these humidifiers and do the vapor and practice and try to capture some of these images? Would you suggest, if somebody was interested, that might be a way to start?
Yeah, I think so. The point is always to have the other side, that they discover you, right? And how they will discover you? Whenever you think that you wanted to make the contacts, you want to help the stations. For instance, something that happened some 15 days ago, in a recording, in Haldive's voice, he said, I am listening to Elisa. Well, the only Elisa that I knew was Elisa, Matthew's mother, and she's recording. And so I sent it to her and I said, look, Elisa, Haldive is looking at you. He's observing that she was trying to communicate. And so it was something that she didn't expect. And this means that they discovered her and then she can go ahead. But everything depends on how you will conduct everything, right? Because obviously sometimes happens something that you have to interrupt it for circumstances, right? When my husband got sick and for some 6 months, I didn't record anymore until Fernando passed. But they knew everything. They knew I couldn't. So obviously they know every day. They know they are watching us 24 hours a day. And people doesn't know that, but they do. So whenever you decide, I will make a recording, I wanted the help of the other side, and I wanted to help people, and I wanted to help the other side, obviously they will find you in the road.
Yes, they will. Someone is asking, what are you projecting with those little projectors that you project into the egg? What is being projected?
Yeah, it was color static. It is noise, color noise. You call noise, I suppose, or snow. In the television, for instance, when it is emptied, the channel, you
Yes.
have that is snow. There are files of these at the internet. It's not difficult to find. And also Amy created in computer some videos for me with those color jumping like static, and also Robert, the guy of the documentary, also made some colors for one video of blue, one video of red, and one video of yellow, so that I could mix all them and offer as light. So, but this is static is very, very, very interesting to use. But I still think that something that functions, well, I was surprised with the vapor. So if someone wants to test, to start, well, of course, you have to make a recording and watch frame by frame, but you may be surprised. Whenever they discover you and they start manipulating the vapor, oh my God, it is incredible.
It is. Can you talk about the frame by frame? Because in every second, aren't there something like 16 or 32 individual frames? I mean, you go through not 1 second, you go through parts, and there could be different pictures on each one.
Yeah, it is 1 second of video has 30 frames, 30 images. And as Sandra said, sometimes between the 30, there is just one that is done by them, and the others are not touched. There is just vapor, let's say, for instance, but you'll find one that was the one that they manipulated. So I think that what Sandra means is that we have to use a software that allows you to watch frame by frame. Obviously, that when you get practice, you don't need to go so slowly. I go very fast nowadays, and I can perceive, I just hit the eyes in something I see immediately because of seeing so many years. So at the beginning, it is more complicated, but obviously, whenever you find an image, you say, oh my God, everything is worth it, right?
Yes, it definitely. Have you received an image? I've seen many of the children of somebody who was old when they died, and they show you themselves young.
Old, you mean old?
Like an old man, old lady.
No, I think that the old persons has been appearing younger, yes, but not as a child. They appear usually by the age of 35 or 40 years old. If the person died at the age of, let's say, 80, 90, he may appear 40, like 40 years old. But the teenagers or the young girls and boys has been appearing as a child. I think that they do this more for an evidence for the family, because the family doesn't have that photo, and it's something absolutely surprising. But I think that never happened that an old person became a child. I think that it looks like him or her, but younger, much younger.
Very nice. Have you ever had anyone singing coming through, or is it only talking?
Oh, yes, there was some very, very impressive. Sometimes that I used music. Very rare to do that, but I used some music sometimes that was sang, and the contents of the music it changed into their words. So it was someone from the other side singing, and it was someone was amazing. Yes.
Wonderful. Have you had animals come through in the trance images, pets?
Oh, yes. And I'm so happy because I saw my dog It is, I didn't have children, so my dogs were my children, and I could see them. And yes, many, many dogs and cats, they, not only they can appear, but in instrumental transcommunication, animals can communicate by voice as well. It's something that deserves a special chapter for persons not to think that I'm mad, but yeah, that is very, if you know the way that they work, you will understand that it is possible to have the animals to say some, to express their love for the owners. And it is absolutely, absolutely cute when they speak. And it is how they feel. Obviously, they don't speak with voice, but they feel. And this feeling is transformed into words through the devices of the station. So it is very curious. Yeah, animals are our little brothers.
Yes, I've seen many of your pictures of that, and they're wonderful. Sonia, do you feel that spirits surround us all of the time?
24 hours a day.
Well, how about that?
You have no idea. Persons think that,
yeah.
oh, I'm here alone and nobody's seeing me. Oh, no. And I tell you, apparently, they have surveillance. Is that correct? Surveillance control through images in the other side from Holy Earth. Mainly all headquarters of governors, they have all control because they cannot allow us to do foolishness. They not will allow us to spoil Earth, in spite that we're doing that. But they see us every day, day and night. They can inspire, they can do many things. Once I asked Tesla, it was a question of a friend of mine, if destiny could be changed. And he said yes. So there are situations in which things are not as they want, or it is not the best for us. They can save persons from death. They can do many things, and because they are watching us all the time.
Yes, I think many of us think the spirits come to us in our world, but I think how it really is we are in their world. It's so much bigger than our minds could even imagine. Someone asks, Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison were at odds on Earth, so they didn't agree. Is there any information whether they worked together on the other side?
Yeah. Once I asked Tesla if he was still upset with Thomas Edison, and he said no, he is not. And besides that, Tesla was just one incarnation of that entity, one of a very important. It was important for us on Earth. That's why he came, because he had to pull us from Earth to new technologies. And what he did at the beginning of the last century, it is reflecting now with incredible advancements that mankind is having thanks to Tesla. So that he had to come to help us for going to a new stage. And obviously he wouldn't care anymore for these human problems, human issues they both had, he and Thomas Edison. He is following his track, his journey. And there was a very important sentence said by him, I don't know exactly the words, but he said that the present, by that time, was of those persons like Thomas Edison. But the future is mine, he said. The future is mine. And that is what he's doing now. The future by that time is us today. So it is his time. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. It is his time now, the future by that time.
Yes, I think our egos go when we cross over,
Yeah.
and we are love and we care. Has there been any advice about the pandemic that we are experiencing, or anything that's happening on Earth right now from the spirit world? I know we're living in a time that is very scary, and especially everywhere, but your country is on the rise also.
Yes. Well, unhappily, I don't think that they were very enthusiastic with what is going on. They transmitted in their words that they were sorry for us. How they've said, I feel sorry for you. For you, mean everybody. And also he said that it was a karma. So I think that they are watching this as something that we have to go through. There is nothing that they can change. And it will be difficult for us for a while. And so they are not consoling too much, I think, but I think that the important is that we have their support. That is important.
Thank you. And I think we will, it's just over 2 hours now. I think we might close our evening or afternoon or morning. But I wanted to just say, before Sonia, you give your final thoughts, Lisa, if you wanted to share any final thoughts.
Oh, I'm great. I'm just so happy that we got to do this.
Oh, you muted yourself accidentally, Lisa.
I'm back. Nope, I'm good. I just hope that we can find some more people to support you in Patreon and just, keep this stuff going month after month after month.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you to Lisa and to Amy and Brandon and all the people that have worked with you in the past, working with you presently. I know you've got support. I know Sonia is the one doing the work, but she definitely has support. And for me, when I send you the replay, I will put some links about how to do some recordings and some other things. I think between all of us, we're a wealth of really good information. And so what might not have gotten covered on our presentation today, I know Sonia's been at this 30 years. I've been almost 25 years. With We Don't Die Radio, I have talked to well over 300 people. So I've got some good support. So I have that for you. If you are finding that little nudge from your soul that you want to explore this more, there is a way. The spirit world, I know, are looking for good people to work with in many different ways. It may not be this way. It may not be any idea that we even know of yet. We are so different, but they are living people in the afterlife. We will get there too. So whatever it is you're passionate about here, I'm sure Steve Jobs is working on it, his side as well, and that sort of thing. So just be looking, probably within the next 8 hours or so, I'll have the video replay and all kinds of links as well. And especially, like I said earlier, I've seen some of Sonia's work, and what she presented here is just the tiniest bit. There are thousands of pictures and things that will give you goosebumps, and audios, and how she got involved in the scientists with these e-magazines that she's done. And you can access all of it if you want to spend $5 for a monthly subscription that you could cancel anytime on her Patreon site. So Sonia, I would like to turn it over to you for some closing words, and then we will say goodnight to everyone.
Okay. Well, I would like to say something. That this work that I have been doing, and thanks to Sandra that opened the first doors, this is not a work that I'm doing by myself, and it is interested, and the interest is me. No, this is something that we all, and when I say we all, means everyone that is listening to me now. It's something like we have to do together, because as per what our spiritual friends are saying, a new era, let's say, is approaching us. And this new era implies in much more communication to the other side, people much more spiritualized, less materialistic. So we will need all the help to bring this new era as a reality. And it is not me that is doing this. It is a task for everybody, right? Sandra is doing her best with all this work that she does. Lisa is helping me a lot, Amy mainly. So, but I think that everybody has to participate of this something, because it is not something that will be good for me or good for you. This new era will bring, as they say, the afterlife as our day by day. Our loved ones will not be so far as we think they are now. They will be so close because the communication will be easier. But to achieve this, to cross this point to the new point, we have to be together. We have to make efforts together. And I'm trying my part, right? So I thank everybody. I call Patreon people. I thank my Patreon people for the help, because I think that we can enlarge this, right? It is a dream that I have that maybe these new phases for Earth may make it possible, which is to authenticate the phenomenon. Why? Because by now it is important for each mother that I had the opportunity to help, which I am very thankful for that, but we can do more. We can not be assisting Mary, John, and Joseph, and this and that. No, we can help humanity if we can prove that the afterlife is real. And for that, we needed the support of science. So it's a huge task that we have ahead, and I cannot do that by myself. So if we are a group, we can fight together. It doesn't matter if I don't have time enough in my life, let's say 10, 15 years, 20 years, this is a very short time, but other people will go on. And we have planted the seed for these persons to have the way opened. And this is important to you to understand that you make part of this. It's not me. It's not me alone. Alone I don't do anything, right? But if we are together, we do. So that is also up to you, how you use your life, how you can support the other side to prove immortality, because this can change the world. It is not changing one life or another life. This is very short, this is small. We can do more. We can prove for mankind that the afterlife is real, right? That's it. I thank you very much.
Thank you. And I have a memory of just over 100 years ago, there were two brothers that looked to the sky and they would watch birds, and they said, someday we will have a flying machine. And the world laughed at them. Nobody took them seriously. That's Orville and Wilbur Wright. And they have changed the world. We take it for granted. We take our cell phones for granted. We take being on our computer now for granted. These are miracles of science.
Yeah.
Stick close with Sonia and her team, because this is the start of one of those things that it will be regular conversation of us all being able to access our loved ones someday.
Yeah.
So it's happening. And I feel so grateful, Sonia, that you're my friend, that we are close. As soon as the earth gets a little healthier, we will be back doing live workshops and you can meet Sonia in person. But Sonia, on behalf of all of us, thank you for the commitment you have been, and for your team, and for all of the people joining us here today. Thank you sincerely for your donations. 100% will go to this woman who has never asked for anything. 100%. And for those who donate on Patreon, the same thing as well. But you get a whole world of information in addition. So on the behalf of all of us, Sonia's team and myself, we want to thank you for being here. The afterlife is real. We
Yeah.
do not die. We still go on. Grief is the most painful thing we will feel. But that moment that comes that you close your eyes, the very last time here, you will open them and be surrounded by your loved ones. I can guarantee that.
Yeah.
So with that, everyone, we send our love wherever in the world you are. And thank you.
My pleasure. Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.